already seeing the immense power of a second President Trump term. Multiple officials now say Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire deal that includes the release of dozens of hostages. And one of those officials is President Trump himself, writing on Truth Social, "We have a deal for the hostages in the Middle East. They will be released shortly. Thank you." Wow. According to the AP, around 100 people are still being held captive inside Gaza, but Israel's military believes at least a third of them are dead. The AP reports the three-phased agreement would begin with the release of 33 Israeli women, children, and elderly, and those wounded, in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian women and children incarcerated in Israel. No reporting right now that we can see about what about the American hostages. There are a handful left. We don't know. Are they in the 33? We don't believe so. The earlier reporting was that we might get 2 in that first round, that that the Americans had originally said we want them all, that they said no, and that it was dropped. So that's with the Biden team. We just don't know. We'll learn more. A Trump source to Fox News today said only 23 of those 33 hostages that are going to be released under this deal are alive. That's incredible. They're holding the dead bodies of the hostages. Back with me now, Victor Davis Hanson. It's kind of confusing because the Biden team has been negotiating, but so has Team Trump. He's dispatched his Middle East envoy over there. And so I don't know exactly who's negotiating with whom, but there's no question that the Trump threat that all hell is going to break loose if they are not returned by his inauguration, which is Monday, it had to have played a part here.
It did. I don't think it's a good deal for Israel because there's about 20% of Gaza they have to get into because that's where Hamas has fled to. And if they pull out and they release hundreds, if not thousands of terrorists, and it's a ceasefire, you know what's going to happen. They're going to get the UN, they're going to get the moderate Arab regimes to rebuild it, and then Hamas is going to threaten them, kill some, and take over again. So I think I know what Trump is doing. I've talked to a few people, but I think their attitude is you can't ever deal with Hamas because of the hostages. So you got to get the hostages out and let Biden get the hostages out. Everybody knows they're being released, as you said, Megyn, because Trump is coming in. But Biden officially will be in office, at least when the first iterations start. So he's responsible. And then when you get the hostages out and Israel gets out, Hamas will break all of their commitments. Everybody knows that. And at that point, they have no more leverage over anybody. And Israel is going to be under the Trump administration free to retaliate as it sees fit. I think that's what the Trump people are thinking. But I'm afraid that in the process, there's going to be a lot of damage done, even though I want all the hostages, as everybody does, to be released. But they're going to let a lot of terrorists out, and they're going to have to get out before they've destroyed Hamas. And I think they could destroy Hamas if they went into the last areas of Gaza, which they won't be able to do.
And you know what else is amazing is the numbers, Victor. It's like, okay, so they're going to let out some number, ideally, eventually all 88, but let's say 33 of the hostages they've got in their custody. And Israel's going to let out hundreds. And the so-called hostages that, Israel has, they aren't hostages, they're prisoners, because they were arrested there's a due process that they go through in Israel before they arrest somebody. All these people are people who are suspected of terrorism or caught in the act of terrorism against Israel. So these people all get out by the hundreds, and just the proportionality is not there. But Hamas, this is what happens because Israel values life and Hamas does not.
Yeah. And what Biden is trying to do is and that's what they've been doing all along with Iran and everybody else. They're using the ascent of Donald Trump and his restoration as a lever and saying, you know what, they're thinking to themselves, Trump will do and say things we can't do. And we're going to use him to get a last minute deal. And Trump is kind of using them. And he said, I'm going to be Ronald Reagan and they're going to be Jimmy Carter. And they're going to release the hostages because I'm coming in. So that's the matrix. But I think everybody expects that the people they release will be right back in as the apparat that restores Hamas. They're all Hamas people, and they're going to go right back and reform Hamas, and they can't, and they're going to be free to do it because Israel will be withdrawn. There's going to be a ceasefire, and then the money's going to pour in. They're going to steal it, UN money, Gulf money, and they're going to start in on it again. And I think at that point, the Trump administration thinks, well, there's no more hostages, and they can't leverage us or Israel, and they got their chance. So world opinion is going to be on our side, especially when the hostages tell how they were treated. And we see these bodies of people who had died weeks before, this gruesome apparat that runs it. And we're going to let Israel then take care of business. I think that's what they think. I don't necessarily agree with that because I think there's going to be a lot of damage in the process of this peace. But I think that's what the Trump people are saying. It's Biden's deal. You notice that Trump didn't take credit for it. He just said they're released because I think the downside, after the abdication of the hostages return, the downside will be Biden's. And then Trump will start with a fresh slate and said, well, he did it. We got the hostages. There's no more leverage on us anymore. So I think that's what's going on.
Increased tariffs on our trade partners, tax cuts, and regulation changes. There's a reason why gold is a diversification tactic now more than ever. Birch Gold is releasing their ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. To get your free copy along with Birch Gold's free information kit on gold, text MK to the number 989898. Here are the facts. The national debt continues to increase. Our interest payments on the national debt continue to increase. And gold can be your hedge against a weakened dollar. Birch Gold can convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Text MK to 989898 for your free copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era. No obligation, just information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews, and thousands of happy customers, find out more about Birch Gold today. Text MK to the number 989898 to figure out your diversification options today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.